What's up, everybody? It's your boy Toxic Boyo bringing you another reaction to yet another death battle. This time it's Ghost Rider versus Spawn. These characters are similar in concept, I suppose, but highly different in execution. I believe that Spawn currently holds the record for the longest running single story in comic books, something of that nature, because for as long as Spawn's been going on, which is about 30 years now, it's never had a reboot or a reset or anything like that. So I think that's really impressive. That being said, while I am a fan of Image Comics, I don't really know too much about Spawn specifically. My expertise when it comes to Image is more like Walking Dead and Invincible and Tech Jacket and Brit. A lot of the Robert Kirkman stuff. Don't know too much about like Savage Dragon or Spawn, other than he appears to be unkillable, and that he no longer loses power from using his power. That being said, gonna do like I always do and rely on my knowledge of Ghost Rider to say that Spawn probably wins, just because I don't know that much about him. We're gonna skip the lore, get straight to the fight, and then bitch and moan about the result afterwards. Let's get started.
PM Eastern Time. All right, the combatants are.
Why does his spine go down so far with no clavicle or ribs visible in here? Hey, Epic Games, do you know what a skeleton looks like? There's bones right here. Right here. Like where the front of your throat meets your chest. There's bones right there. No clavicle in sight. And then you got Spawn from fucking Call of Duty. I hate it here.
We've run the data through all possibilities. It's time for one hell.
Oh, that movie sucks. Which movie? That's a good question. They both suck.
Nights like these drive men insane. Brimstone in the air. Something's coming. If it wants a piece of me, there'll be hell to pay.
You couldn't get Keith David? The Akira slide.
Make me.
So he does have the meter. This song is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Is he gonna lose by just like tiring himself out and running out of power? Because what I do know about Ghost Rider, Jesus. So first of all, I want to address that this is the Danny Ketch design. The Ghost Rider that I'm looking at right now looks like Danny Ketch. The spikes on his shoulders, the punky type of outfit, that's classic Danny Ketch. Using a chain, that's Danny Ketch. The gray pants, all that stuff. If this were Johnny Blaze, he would be wearing a more traditional motorcycle type suit that is shaded with highlights of blue. I'm not necessarily saying that this is Danny or Johnny. I'm just saying my eyes see Danny Ketch. But the thing about the Ghost Rider is he's unkillable by anything other than God. Only God can create or destroy a Ghost Rider. So I don't know what Al's up to in his books, but I don't necessarily know that matters too much to him. But let's continue. But then again, I mean, he's losing power. We're seeing it. Also, the Spawn axe from Soul Calibur. Anyway. That makes more sense. He's got a hell truck, yeah. Maybe I should start watching more death battles where like That's pretty cool. I think the spirit of Zarathos has like completely taken over. That's all I can speculate as to what just happened. But I feel like maybe I should start watching more death battles where like I don't know that much about one of the characters. That way I can just be impressed when cool stuff happens. Is Scorpion a Ghost Rider reference? I've never thought about that in my life. Bright as shit, like they always get. Yeah. Angel Spawn.
God forbid.
Why is Ghost Rider so big? Foot dive!
Simmons, your sins are innumerable. I am here to wreak vengeance upon your soul.
Is he gonna penance stare him?
I eat sin for breakfast. Have a taste of your own goddamn medicine.
That's pretty cool. That's rough. Bro just full countered the penance stare. Hey, Danny.
It's like you said, nothing personal, asshole.
Yeah, okay. That's about what I thought.
Damn! Literally. This was a nail-biter of a battle that pitted Ghost Rider's immeasurable power against Spawn's skill and versatility. Let's break this down into 4 categories. First up, power. Divine Spawn could match God and Satan, who could create universes. Similar in scale to Ghost Rider's bouts with a lot of the powerhouses in Marvel. But Zarathos was different. Remember, his power can match
Spawn can affect infinite timelines and bulk spaces such as the overlap, but Zarathos is a threat to an infinite number of infinite multiverses, infinite timelines, higher dimensions, transcendent realms, and the bulk space connecting them. That doesn't sound any different to me, but whatever.
that of Mephisto.
Infinity is infinity. Infinity is infinity. There's once you've crossed over into something that cannot be quantified, you can't scale that anymore. You can't say, well, this infinity is bigger than this infinity, because it's infinity. Whatever. Hey, Galactus.
Could threaten all of Marvel's infinite cosmic reality, far greater than
Yeah.
any cosmos Spawn has ever affected. Even though Spawn
I think
battled and
Galactus
defeated
is
Satan
a
once,
multiversal
Comics
constant, no?
Life
So, like, anytime
power
Galactus
set
shows up, it's the
by
same
He
Galactus.
couldn't match Zarathos in power alone. Ghost Rider may take power, but remember, Johnny actively resists Zarathos' influence, so Spawn may have had time in the fight to learn and adapt to Ghost Rider before he went full Blue Fury. And Spawn definitely had the edge in skill. He spent decades in military combat and is a master martial artist, whereas Johnny more so relies on his invincibility.
That's understandable.
Power for a stuntman.
I'll give him that.
Even with his crazy powers, Ghost Rider was a lot more direct than Spawn, pretty much entirely focused on attacking the soul, which doesn't bode well for his versatility. Spawn can stop time,
That's fair.
manipulate matter, turn intangible, control minds, warp reality. The Ghost Rider had a much more limited arsenal by comparison. Spawn had a huge advantage in this category. Though with his invincibility, way greater power, and the ability to
God,
scorch
I'm
your
sleepy,
soul
apparently.
with Ghost Rider could score the win through brute force, right? Not exactly. The last piece of the puzzle is their resistances. Basically, who was harder to kill. Spawn's constant mainlining of humanity's collective sin and pain meant he could survive attacks on his soul, including the penance stare.
Understandable.
Just like he resisted a very
Johnny
similar
doesn't
attack
do
from
the
Urus's.
penance stare.
Best of all, remember the time he rewrote reality to undo his own inexistence? There was nothing the Ghost Rider could do to overpower
What?
that. And that time with the lance wasn't planned, it was purely instinctual. He could replicate it any time he wanted, like in his fight with God and Satan. So how do you put Spawn down for good? Well, you can't. At least Johnny and Zarathos could. Unlike how Ghost Rider's soul has been vulnerable to attack before. like when Danny used the penance stare to depower Johnny.
This sort of thing actually happens
Interesting.
a lot, even in recent comics. The whole reason Johnny and Zarathos are bonded in the first place is because Zarathos' soul was manipulated by Mephisto.
And not only does Spawn have plenty of experience...
Oh, whoops.
manipulating-
Mephisto claims stealing Ghost Rider's soul would be difficult, but only through trickery. What? It would only be difficult through trickery? What does that mean? In Ghost Rider 06, Danny stole spirits of vengeance from Ghost Riders worldwide, including Johnny. Johnny's soul has also been stolen by Moondark and Centurious. Yeah, isn't there a Ghost Rider for every continent?
souls, he can replicate the effect of the penance stare itself.
And just think
Does it include Antarctica? Is there a Ghost Rider just walking around in the Antarctica?
From every penance stare that he's ever done. A penance squared.
The damnation stare, on the other hand, actively helped Spawn, sending him to hell where he gets a literal infinite power boost.
And it wasn't just Spawn's soul power.
Rogue absorbing Zarathos allowed him to briefly control her, but Letha can control the soul, body, and mind of her host. Given Al constantly resists her, he could similarly resist Zarathos' control.
That it spelled.
Can't argue with that.
He had other ways to bypass Ghost Rider's immortality too, like transmutation, rewriting reality, or just straight up stealing his powers, which has worked on multiple Ghost Riders in the past.
Giving Spawn the final edge.
Golly.
Power advantage, soul
I'm so sorry.
immortality, but Spawn could counter everything thrown at him, and was too unkillable for Zarathos' strength advantage to matter in the long run against his crazier abilities.
That was one hell of a fight, and at least Johnny went out in a blaze of glory.
The winner is...
Did he always do those puns at the end? Because that's really aggravating to listen to. Like, way more than it should ever be. I'm not going to say what that looks like. Well, that's been Spawn versus Ghost Rider. That went about how I thought it would, just because I don't really know a whole lot about Spawn. I know more now than I did at the beginning, but still. It's hard to weigh in specifically on who should win a battle when you don't know that much about one of the characters versus the other. Because I also don't know a whole lot about Ghost Rider compared to like Daredevil, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Captain America, and characters like that I've been, reading my whole life. And I know what the answer to that is. Toxie, just watch the fucking beginning where they explain all that shit. I don't care. I don't care. Do you want to sit here and watch me react to a 24-minute video in full? No, you don't. You guys skip it too. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. You guys skip it too. So I don't want to hear it. Anyway. Let me know in the comments what you want me to react to next. I've also considered doing some videos where I try like some quizzes, or I respond to articles or something like that. I want to try to diversify my reaction content. I don't want to just sit here and look at a video and pause it and talk over and stuff like that all the time. That's always fun. But I do think that there's more that I could do in regards to reactions and more interactive content. So if you guys have any ideas regarding that, let me know in the comments as well. I read them all. That being said, I'll see you guys next time. Are there any trailers out?